with the world to hear on their podcast. At first, Kyrie didn't even like Kevin Durant, but it was the character of Kevin Durant. It was how Kevin Durant ended up winning him over, and is what I think is going to be the difference. And it's got Kyrie in a place where there's stakes. You understand, and he's bought into it.
Yep.
That's why it bothered me so much that he didn't speak to the media. He had to release 2 dickhead comments, because all of that is unnecessary. You're winning, Kyrie. This is your team that you grew up on. Kyrie is more of a Nets fan than I am, if we're being real, right? I would give him that, because he talks about it in a way that my son one day will talk about it. Barclays Center is my son's living room. The ushers recognize him. He walks in that building like he owns it. And I'm sure when Kyrie was going to games when he was a kid in New Jersey with his dad, loving basketball, watching Jason Kidd, he imagined putting on that uniform, probably in New Jersey, but still putting on that Nets uniform and winning it all.
Yep.
And you could just see, it was like at the end, and I'll leave this last point on Kyrie, but at the end, Kyrie is sitting next to, we're up by like 30 in the fourth quarter, or something like that. It didn't even matter. We were slapping them, and Kyrie wasn't necessarily. I could just read his body language. I could read his lips. I heard him. I know you saw it too, Sam.
Yep.
When I remind you what he said, he made like some kind of like motion, like, "Yo, it's a wrap," and he didn't mean this particular game is a wrap. He meant the NBA is a wrap.
Yep.
He meant that he was basically telling KD, like, who the fuck is going to stop us? Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think so I did see that, and also, like, I think they know, they're like, if this team is healthy, like, it's gonna be really, really hard to stick with them. And look, the one thing that also has to be said, because I've been hearing a lot of this on all the national podcasts and stuff like that. The idea that this team isn't going to play defense, I look, it's something that we've had concerns about for a while. But let's just like make one thing like very clear. Like, Kyrie and KD have both showed in the playoffs, when they're fully locked in, that they are like above average like defenders. There's no way around that. Like, they've already proven it. And there's no doubt in my mind that in a half-court setting, when you need guys who are like shot makers, and also the game is slower, and when defensive effort obviously matters, but it's not as much in a playing fast type of way, but you're slowing it down, you have a little bit more of a breather. Like, this team will be, I'm actually becoming more confident this team will be able to get stops and play defense.
So check this out. I'm going to contradict myself, but first, I'm going to basically explain to you why, even though everything you just said is true, here's why we can't count on it. The teams that Kevin Durant and Kyrie, we'll do Kevin Durant first, have been on, have always wrapped him in a cocoon of good defense. Andre Roberson, Ibaka, drawing a blank of the other guy in OKC, but still, Klay Thompson on one side, Draymond Green on the other side.
Iggy.
Say it again.
And Iguodala.
And then Iguodala. There's no one like that on the Nets. That person does not exist on the Nets. And so my concern and my everlasting fear is that's going to come back to bite us. But when I look at that again, let's not even belabor the point on what could go wrong. let's talk about what went right. So not only did Kevin Durant shoot 56% tonight. I mean, like he's a joke, man. Like this, what he could do is ridiculous. So not only did he do that, lead us in scoring with 25, but his man was Jason Tatum tonight.
Yep.
Right? And even though Jason got 19 and 8, he still shot 29%. So that tells me like KD didn't do too badly. Now, they list Jaylen Brown as the power forward, and which reminds us that Boston is a small ball team as well. We didn't have problems with them last year. I thought we were very competitive against them last year, but they didn't make Kevin Durant look silly.
Yep.
Now we're not gonna know until I thought he played great defense. He was a wonderful weak side defender. I think he got 3 blocks tonight. Let me check.
Yeah, he did.
That's what I've been wanting for Jared Allen for a while. But obviously, Kevin's playing with DeAndre in the starting lineup, and I'll even speak to that, tonight. The whole DeAndre thing, but hey, I'm taking this approach with the team on the 4 spot. A blind man could see what the Nets have decided. The Nets have decided we are just going to have the most devastating offensive lineup that the NBA has ever seen.
Yep.
We are going to basically come down court and shoot open shots whenever. Last year, Joe Harris was not just coming down court and pulling up from 3. He has been given a green light that historically Mike D'Antoni teams, by giving players the green light the way that they are, by getting players comfortable and finding out through intense scrimmaging in practice, like they don't really run plays and drills and stuff like that in D'Antoni's world. D'Antoni scrimmages all the time. And because of that, you're seeing the benefit of players like Joe Harris who are just going to shoot threes in rhythm. You have Shamet that's going to shoot threes in rhythm. And what none of those teams that Kevin Durant were on in terms of, all of them had better defenders than us in their starting lineups, but their benches, our bench was a 500 team last year and should have been the 6th seed, but was the 7th seed in the East. Our bench. So I'm gonna trust them. I'm gonna go, you know what, Sean Marks? I see what you're doing. I'm not sure, and we're not gonna know until we see them play, like Giannis and Embiid and Simmons and those guys. Until they play some big teams, I'm not sure if it's gonna work. But my God, we look devastating. You want to say something on
that? I mean, look, it's funny. I legitimately am like kind of speechless because they played even better in the preseason than I expected them to, and I kind of expected them to be slow and to not everyone is on the same page and but like. Number one, it's clear that that there's already some basketball chemistry between the guys. I think in part because they've all spent a lot of time together. I think Durant and Kyrie have probably like set the tone in the fact that I think they're obviously both coming off injuries, and I think also have a massive like FU chip on their shoulder this year because the amount of like attention they've both gotten for the right and wrong reasons is crazy. But look, just like like overall, I think we got to look at the landscape of the East and basically be like they should be in the conversation with everybody because I don't really know like what the move is to stop them. There is too many guys. If you look at the Celtics today, I know that Kemba's out, and to be honest, like the Kemba knee thing is a really like sad, unfortunate thing because I think we all like love. There's nothing not to like about
I love
Kemba,
Kimba.
and,
Hmm.
and yeah, like he's a class act and he's great, but like I don't know.
I
I
hate the
mean,
pajamas he's wearing, but I love Kimba.
like I mean this is now two straight knee issue years from a small point guard, which is just not the direction you want him to go in. You got the Bucks, who I think are going to be obviously really good. That's obviously the competition, and like I don't know what's going to happen with the Sixers with this Harden thing. I think the Heat are at this point now the most puffed up team, and I'm not really sure like exactly why because I'm just not I'm not sold on them, especially like them staying with a team like the Nets because I just don't know offensively how they can, and so I don't know. Like and I think the Raptors will take a step back. So like, look, are the Nets gonna have their defensive issues? Like, yeah, but I also think like this whole idea.
Does it matter?
Of,
No.
yeah,
It just doesn't matter.
I honestly just it's one of those things where like you're talking to someone who really like does care a lot about defense and thinks it like is obviously it's half the game, but like. You have guys on this team like so many different guys on this team can get a shot to the point that I'm just like I don't really know how you're supposed to deal with them. Like I honestly don't, especially when KD and Kyrie are locked in the way they are. That's why I honestly feel kind of speechless because I'm just like, yeah, look, like I mean there were moments in the game. I don't know if you felt this way.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I'm on a little bit of a run on right now, but like there were moments in that game where I was like, oh, that would have been a good shot. The guy pump faked and passed. Oh, that would have been like it felt a little bit like the Warriors. It was like, oh, they just 6 shots that could have been good shots, and then instead it's like, oh, they got a layup, or oh, they got a long 2, or they got a 3, or someone's at the free throw line. But I was like, no, what? I would have taken any shot on this team. It's so many good looks.
Yeah, and I think it's almost unfair. It's almost unfair to other teams that we can just send offense in waves at them.
Yep.
Right. If I was Mike D'Antoni and I was a head coach at the Houston Rockets and it was going nowhere, and I would have wanted to see my offense, my work of art, the thing that I've tried to perfect over years, and he only gives a shit about offense. If I'm Mike D'Antoni, I leave the Houston Rockets. I resign from the Houston Rockets, and I say, you know what? I want to see the player that if I made him in a laboratory, if I made a player in a laboratory that should fit my offense, that could make my offense look like the unstoppable thing that I've created, it's Kevin Durant.
Yep.
And he has Kevin Durant and probably the second player. Not Harden. Harden is not 7 seconds or less. Harden is 14 dribbles and let whatever will be. Kyrie Irving, who keeps his dribble, who penetrates, maybe doesn't love the in-between game, but his in-between game is silly.
Yep.
So if I'm him and I get an opportunity to coach those two guys, and then on top of it, you're gonna give me I'm Mike D'Antoni, and you're gonna give me Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Joe Harris, the 3-point skills champion and the 3-point percentage champion from a year before last, a consummate 40% shooter. You're going to give me him. And then on top of that, you're going to give me Landry Shamet too? To be in the 7 seconds or less offense?
Look, and like we said this like during the year, like they are, look, I mean, let me preface by saying I don't think me and you are particularly happy with the amount of depth they have at the at the forward position, and it would be nice if they had a big time.
No,